Okay, so I'm gonna be honest, I was not feeling like having a Bible study today. But I did it anyways, and we're in 2 Samuel 21, and I'm really glad I ended up doing this today because it was really sad. And I don't know, it was just, yeah, let's just go ahead. During the reign of David, there was a famine for 3 successive years. So David sought the face of the Lord. The Lord said, "It is on account of Saul and his blood-stained house. It is because he put the Gibeonites to death." The king summoned the Gibeonites and spoke to them. Now the Gibeonites were not a part of Israel, but were survivors of the Amorites. The Israelites had sworn to spare them, but Saul, in his zeal for Israel and Judah, had tried to annihilate them. So interesting, because I'm pretty sure he was supposed to kill all of the Amorites and he left some alive, but then later on they make a deal to not kill them. So he gets cursed both ways. But anyways, they had sworn to spare them. When you swear in Israel, you swear on your God. You say, if I do this, may my God curse me. That's basically what you swear. That's a promise. It's an oath before God. It's not saying that these people will punish you. It's saying that God will punish him with a certain punishment. Okay. And if you disobey God, there is a strong punishment. It's talked about in Deuteronomy 28:15, the curses for disobedience. And I want to highlight one that's relevant to this story because it's talked about here. Your carcasses will be left for all the birds and all the wild animals, and there will be no one to frighten them away. So it's saying you'll be a horror, like all these enemies will come on you, and there's literally going to be no one left. Like everyone will have fled, which is a huge disrespect to the dead bodies. That was like a sign of disrespect to allow them to be eaten by wild animals, because to show respect, you should bury them according to God's law. But he's saying it would just happen. So anyways, we're here, and they've sworn to spare them, but Saul didn't. And so now there's this famine, right? There's this famine. I read it's also part of it. Sorry, there's also a famine in the curses, but I wanted to call out the other one about the bodies. Okay, so David asked the Gibeonites, "What shall I do for you? How shall I make atonement so that you will bless the Lord's inheritance?" And so the Lord has promised before that he would bless those who bless his people and curse those who curse his people. So this is like kind of a double thing. Please bless us. Please forgive us. Please make this right before the Lord. So the Gibeonites answered him, "We have no right to demand silver or gold from Saul or his family, nor do we have the right to put anyone in Israel to death. What do you want me to do for you?" And then here's the true answer. So that's just interesting. I want to go back and study why they say this. So maybe out of fear for the king, they're like, "No, we don't need, nothing's wrong. What should I do to atone?" Well, here the honest answer is, "As for the man who destroyed us and plotted against us so that we have been decimated and have no place anywhere in Israel, let 7 of his male descendants be given to us to be killed and their bodies exposed before the Lord at Gibeah of Saul, the Lord's chosen one." So they say, to make up for this broken oath from Saul, let us have 7 of his sons, basically. So the king said, "I will give them to you." So the king spared Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because of the oath before the Lord between David and Jonathan, son of Saul. So Jonathan's son was protected from their promise, but the king took Ormoni and Mephibosheth and 2 sons of Aiah's daughter Rizpah, whom she had borne to Saul. So 2 sons of Rizpah, together with 5 sons of Saul's daughter Merab, whom she had borne to Adriel, son of Barzillai. I don't know. Anyways, so the 2 women, they have between the 2 of them 7 sons, Rizpah and Merab. He handed them over to the Gibeonites, who killed them and exposed their bodies on a hill before the Lord. All 7 of them fell together. They were put to death during the first days of the harvest, just as the barley harvest was beginning. So again, how the curse goes, your carcasses will be food for all the birds and the wild animals, and there will be no one to frighten them away. But what happens instead is that they did this at the beginning of the harvest, but Rizpah, daughter of Ai, took sackcloth and spread it out for herself on a rock. From the beginning of the harvest till the rain poured down from the heavens on the bodies, she did not let the birds touch them by day or the wild animals by night. So this woman, she's out there in the Israeli wilderness with these bodies of her children, of her 2 sons, right? She had 2 sons, and she is protecting them from wild animals so that they can have dignity in death. And now that's just an amazing, the fact that this is written down for like 4,000 years of history, and the fact she's honored by name, like she deserves it, honestly, but it's amazing. It's just amazing. So, horrible times of war, that was our past. That was a real truth that still existed in like the 1300s. We were still doing this in Europe, so I don't want to hear anything about that, guys. That was just a part of history we have to face. But the fact that we honor this person because she did not allow these bodies to decay with dignity is something special. Okay, so when David was told that Aiah's daughter Rizpah, Saul's concubine, had done, he went and took the bones of Saul and his son Jonathan from the citizens of Jabesh Gilead. They had stolen their bodies from the public square at Beth-shan, where the Philistines had hung them after they struck Saul down on Gilboa. So these people had Jonathan and Saul's bodies. And so he went down and collected them first. And so that's also probably a sign of disrespect. The fact that they had them and they had stolen them, that's like a sign of disrespect. It's like a mocking their death. So he says, nah, goes to grab them. And then he brought the bones of Saul and his son Jonathan from there. And on the bones of those who had been killed and exposed were gathering up. So now he's joined them together again. They buried the bones of Saul and his son Jonathan in the tomb of Saul's father Kish at Zelah in Benjamin, and did everything the king commanded. After that, God answered prayer on behalf of the land. So this passage is crazy in modern times, but I want you to kind of just think about it in the terms of like, ancient times. Just leave modern morality kind of out of it. I'm gonna get emotional. So Rizpah is this woman who gave birth to these 2 sons, and she's out there from the beginning of the harvest until the rains poured down. This is showing the passage of time, and I need to look that up because I've been looking up seasons, and it's like she might be out there for weeks, guys. I don't, and she's out there and did not let the birds touch them by day or the wild animals by night because she loves them that much and she's protecting their bodies that much. David was told this. David, the current king of Israel. Now this was like a whole punishment, and the king's hearing about this. So he goes and he's like, no, I have to make amends for this, right? He hears her crying. He hears her tears. And he joins them together. And I want you to note, like, David is described as a man after God's own heart. And so the fact that he's just doing this, he's appeasing her tears, he's respecting their bodies, and he's putting them all back together even more than, the sons being able to be buried. They're not buried with their father and grandfather and great-grandfather in a place of honor. And then he answers the prayer. That's what God wanted. And it's so interesting that you can read this and be like, wow, I know some people read this and say, man, your God is so cruel. And I'm like, he's not the cruel one in this scenario, you know? The cruel one in the scenario was the one who asked for that, right? That's just how it is. The humans were the cruel ones. God didn't want that. He answered both of their prayers. He answered the prayers of Rizpah. And he honored her for literally thousands of years. Who else do you know from that time? And it's a woman, a concubine, not even like the queen, just, you know? And then the fact that they're all united together, I think it's beautiful. I think it kind of reminds me of, you know, just spiritually, she's protecting them, like their honor, their dignity, their bones, spiritually. And then knowing that there's like a resurrection, there's a belief in a resurrection again. The fact that they're all going to be resurrected together is just a beautiful thing. I don't know. You can look at that and you can say, oh, it's such